In Sports Talk, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to predict the Week 8 games. My esteemed video coordinator makes his debut on the show, my brother Maul. And we're going to predict all the games for this week. Me and him are going to go back and forth on it. Let's make this quick because YouTube has been...
They fuck up our videos, yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
Go ahead.
Lions and Falcons. Okay. This is just a ridiculous game, 9:30 in London. But the Lions are 5-2. The Falcons are one of the worst teams in the NFL, one of the most overrated pieces of talent ever. Lions win 21-10. Too easy of a game.
Well,
Come on.
The Atlanta Falcons 3 years ago were top of the NFC. Now, just been bottom feeding the NFC. They do get a shot realistically to win the division. But in this game, number one defense prevails. Lions win 31-23.
Good. Rams and Chiefs. This is non-negotiable. At Kansas City, I mean, man, I wish I knew who to pick here. I'm just going to go with easy pick is Kansas City because, I mean, they at least have an offense.
Well, this is what I think. What I see in the St. Louis Rams come up big in these kind of situations when they play these big teams. However, Kansas City Chiefs, 2 weeks into the season, didn't look good. Picked up a couple big ones against the Patriots, last week against the Chargers. Now, Alex Smith has always been a big-time quarterback.
Clearly.
Yeah, as the 49ers, to me, to this day, made the biggest regret trading him for Colin Kaepernick.
I agree.
But I see the Rams coming on the upset, 17-3.
Texans and Titans. This is okay. The Titans, they obviously made it clear they're tanking to get that guy from Oregon. So I'm gonna go with Texans here because they nearly beat Pittsburgh and they got a lucky win against the Texans because the Texans will win 17-3.
This is the game where I'm torn on the most because I was a big fan of Zach Mettenberger back at LSU, and he's finally getting a start. The Houston Texans, 3-1, losing 3 games in a row, going to Tennessee, who's just as bad, but Ryan Fitzpatrick, I'm not really that sold on. The Houston Texans, at some point, going to have to make quarterback change. I hate to say it, but they're going to have to make quarterback change. Zach Mettenberger wins his debut game, 20-13.
Buccaneers and Vikings. As much as I think Lovie Smith is one of the most overrated coaches in NFL history,
that's a bold statement.
Because Lovie Smith has been given chance after chance after chance to win Super Bowls in Chicago, and now he's failing. He doesn't have they're not decent. But the good news is they're facing a team that has been a laughingstock for so long. Buccaneers 20-6 because the Vikings will not score 1 touchdown.
Well, you look at this team post Adrian Peterson. Cordell Patterson's been a playmaker. Greg Jennings hasn't been nothing in his 2 years there. Asisa and McKinnon have been all right, but the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 1-5 look like a team that shouldn't be because earlier in the year when you go to a guy that's been a journeyman in McCown, Mike Glennon should have got this opportunity when they were 0-8 last year, got him back up. Lovie Smith is, like I said in my Week 4 prediction video, won't last long because the stupidity by not starting Mike Glenn in the first 3 games of the season kind of cost him. The Buccaneers win 40-17.
Seahawks and Panthers. Okay. If it wasn't at Carolina, I would not pick the Panthers to win. Without a doubt. This would be an easy game. But Seattle's been struggling. And I am predicting this. They're not going to the Super Bowl. They're not going to the NFC Championship.
Whoa.
This team, they should be 6-0 because they have an easy schedule. Let's face it. But this is the chance to get back on pace. A terrible defense. I've never been a believer in Cam Newton, so Seahawks win 27-17.
So you're telling me that the Seahawks are going to start 3-4?
I think the Seahawks, that'll be 4-3 after they win. But they're the one with the actual credible defense.
Well, for those of you that have the next gen for the Madden, they predict that this will be the NFC Championship this year. And the way that it's looking, first we all thought Carolina and Seattle in the beginning of the year were the elites in the NFC. Carolina's defense at the beginning of the year started clearly you can tell they miss Greg Hardy. Clearly you can tell that Cam Newton misses Steve Smith, despite Calvin Benjamin being the best rookie of the season so far. Russell Wilson's having the best season of his career. This is just my opinion.
But unfortunately,
but here's the
they're
thing.
not good.
When you look in their secondary, Earl Thomas is hurt, Cam Chancellor's hurt,
Okay.
Richard Sherman doesn't have a pick. That secondary so far is being a little thinned out. I still think Seattle's going to win this game because Carolina has been reeling. Seattle's not going to lose 3 consecutive games in a row. They're defending champs. And Pete Carroll's had the philosophy, and this team, but without Percy Harvin, could be really good offensively. They just need one more weapon, and Russell Wilson by himself, the general, the commander-in-chief for Pete Carroll, I say Seattle wins this one 20-19.
There you go. This is my favorite game of the week, the Ravens and the Bengals. It's a good... It'll be close, I'll admit. But what I will see is an exposed Andy Dalton, because I haven't seen him do anything in the playoffs. Marvin Lewis, yet another overrated coach because he hasn't done anything in 11 years. Not one playoff win. Joe Flacco is proving that he is elite. He has one of the most underrated receivers ever in Steve Smith, who's still playing at an old age.
Well,
Ravens win 30-27.
Well, like you hit it right on the head. Steve Smith was by far the steal of the free agency class so far. Wasn't even expected to be there. Carolina will forever be the dumbest team. Letting the guy that go. And Carolina felt the effects when Steve Smith ran them like a bunch of schoolyard kids in the words of Steve Smith. But you look at Cincinnati. I look at Cincinnati, and A.J. Green hasn't been the top. It's been Mohamed Sanu. The last 3 years playing together, Mohamed Sanu has been essentially Andy Dalton's best receiver in the last 12 games Cincinnati's played. But defensively, the Ravens are better than the Bengals, and they're certainly not going to drop another one. The first time these two teams met, the Bengals did beat the Ravens, but this time around, Joe Flacco gets it around Steve Smith. I've never been a believer in Cincinnati's defense.
Me too.
Despite Geno Atkins coming back, the Ravens are going to rout the Bengals 30-7.
We don't even have to discuss this. We're both on the Dolphins against the Jaguars, right?
Yeah, I'm not even going to.
Jacksonville is garbage. Okay.
Sorry, guys. Go ahead.
No, I don't think there's any fans out there for Jacksonville. Patriots versus the Bears. I have always hated the Bears, but I will be unbiased here. But then again, Jay Cutler. When I think of Jay Cutler, I think of a bunch of guys like Scott Mitchell. You know, he's one of those guys.
Worse than that.
He's good, but he's not, anywhere near good. I'd take Andrew Luck over this guy because they're not good. I mean, come on.
Well, look,
The Bears are one of the most underachieving teams in the last 10 years. I mean, they had so many chances to win a Super Bowl, and they're facing, in my opinion, a top 5 quarterback ever. The Patriots have finally shunned their critics. They're favored by 6 points. It's in Foxborough. I know the Bears can do something on the road, but I'm going to go with the Patriots 36 to 21. I think.
Well, our video coordinator for the day, my other brother, is a Patriot fan, and he'll throw the phone at me if I don't pick New England.
That's for you.
But, there's a couple things I factor in when I pick this game. Chicago has been one of the best road teams. Apparently, something that Chicago aired that's not been good for them. Brian Urlacher the other day said that Jay Cutler's financially elite. He hasn't been the best, but New England right now is riding a streak, being, Tom Brady's proven time and time again he doesn't need the top guys around him to be successful. And let's think about this: the Patriot defense is just as better as now than they were against the Giants. Because back against the Giants, their secondary was horrible.
Yeah,
they got Brandon Browner back, Darrell Revis, Alfonso Dennard. Kyle Arrington. Right now, to me, in the AFC, this defense could be just as good as Denver. But if they want a shot at Denver, they're going to have to win this week. And I believe they will. 14-3. low scoring.
Well, that might be.
It's
I
very low
think
scoring.
this is not even debatable. The Jets are a circus town.
Well,
They are a bunch of clowns who can't play football, and this is a fact. Rex Ryan should have been fired 2 years ago because he hasn't given on his promise. He predicted in 4 years we're going to win a Super Bowl. We're going to do this and that. He self-destructed Mark Sanchez's career because he traded for some no-name Tebow. And Kyle Orton, he's proven. And I can't believe what he did last week. So I'm going to go with the Bills 17-0 because this team is pathetic.
Well, look, let me tell you something. When I look at the New York Jets, basically what they did with the trade with Percy Harvin, they're already starting on next year. They already gave up hope on this year. John Isaac looks like he's losing his job. Woody Johnson, the Jets next year, they're looking at the quarterback class. You think Jameis Winston or another guy like that would be Prescott from Mississippi State. The Jets don't think... I seriously think Geno Smith... A couple sources that I know, they are interested in Demaryius Thomas and Julius Thomas for next year's free agency. If Denver doesn't slap the franchise tag on one of them. The Jets right now are reloading for an elite year next year. But as far as this game goes, I think the Jets snapped their losing streak. The Buffalo Bills lost C.J. Spiller and Fred Jackson for just basically probably the whole season. Every running game depleted, and let's think. The Jets' run defense is number 3 in the league, lead by Sheldon Richardson, Muhammad Wilkerson. Muhammad Wilkerson is the best 3-4 end in football, and Geno Smith's gonna have fun with his new toy, Percy Harvin. The Jets win it 20-13.
Oh my goodness.
Now this right here is going to be game of the week. The Eagles and the Cardinals, both teams 5-1, both teams essentially on top of their division. The Arizona Cardinals, we kind of expected when Bruce Arians took over, but we didn't expect for this much success. Why? Because when Carson Palmer came out of USC, people touted him as the next Peyton Manning, but Carson Palmer hasn't been living up to it when he was in Cincinnati. But this year, Andre Ellington has improved to be an elite. And let's take a look at the guys they lost. They lost Darnell Dockett. They lost to Darrell Washington. They lost a couple other key guys.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, undrafted rookie John Brown, Michael Floyd, Larry Fitzgerald is always a presence, despite him being. He's always a presence, no matter what.
Underrated wide receiver in the NFL. He's been that way for years.
And let's not forget, they have in my opinion, their secondary beats Seattle. Patrick Peterson, Antonio Cromartie, Tyrann Mathieu, 3 of those guys that can match up with anybody. And then if you look at the other side, Chip Kelly doesn't seem anybody's figuring him out yet.
That's true.
They traded for Darren Sproles, who's been the best backup back in football, best utility back in football. They got Jordan Matthews from Vandy. Jeremy Maclin back, Jason.
They're weak.
Nick Foles, when he came out, a lot of people knew that Michael Vick's days were numbered, but he putting up Pro Bowl numbers last year. I don't think the Eagles are going to win this division. I still think Dallas Cowboys. I'm going with my preseason pick. Dallas Cowboys are going to win the division, but you look, the Eagles. The Sean McCoy's been a couple fading. I still think the Eagles are going to come out of the desert winning this game. But at what cost?